Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and I just finished an hour live TLDR today. I just kind of went on and on, which I'm prone to do. It's one of the reasons I love doing live videos on YouTube, much like this one. This is a Q&A with you and me. I do 5 of these a week. 4 of them are exclusive to my patrons at chrispirillo.com. Really easy to do, great way of supporting me and the community, helping me continue to do what I do really for you, and obviously you're interested because you're watching this video. This one is the public video for the week. The question is, who would you get advice from? Great question. There's a lot of information out there, and a ton of it, really. In a response I frequently receive when people seem to be opposed to the way that I choose to share my knowledge with others. It needs to be free. Well, wait a minute. Information, it wants to be free. Data wants to be free. But knowledge and wisdom, that's the connection of all these various points. That is so valuable. Because imagine the difference between talking to someone who's only read about something versus talking to someone who's actually experienced it. And there's a huge difference between the two. And you think back to your own classroom experiences if you went to school. And many people have, or maybe they're still going to school. That's great. There's the difference between a good teacher and a not so good teacher. A teacher who has experienced things and can share those experiences with you versus someone who hasn't really experienced things and can't explain things very well. They understand it in their own head, but they have the inability to translate and synthesize that information so that you can understand it. Huge gap between information and knowledge. Wisdom is valuable because it can save you that much more time, that much more frustration. It's not about the class. It's not about the subject. It's about the teacher. So if you're asking me who I would get advice from, I would look for the person who's most experienced in the thing that I wanted to learn about. Because talking to anybody, just going to a search engine and there's its first result, therefore it's the right result, that's not how it works. In fact, for years, people have been gaming that system for great ends because they would want to be the number one search result because they would get more traffic and potentially convert that into more money and more ad revenue. That doesn't get you any closer to what you want. In terms of advice, going to your search engine is probably not going to give you good advice. Search engine is the wrong way to go. So, to me, it's all about going to the people I trust the most. And I don't trust a search engine. I mean, I trust it in the sense that I know it's there. I use it all the time. I search for things all the time. Hey, what's the temperature? The search engine can tell me that. I don't need not wisdom around that. I can figure that, 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, I'm good to go. Not much deep insight. If I wanted to ask, well, what's the best place that I could go to get fresh fish to prepare at home? Just throwing that out there. Not saying that I would do that necessarily, but I wouldn't want to go to a search engine for that. I wouldn't want to just, go onto YouTube and search for videos on that. I want qualified information. When I want to learn how to do something, I want to find the person who knows how to do it. Not just the person who knows how to talk about doing it necessarily. Sometimes if they're relaying the information in a cogent fashion, and I trust that personality or trust that individual, I trust them. So it's a matter of trust. For years, news reporters have sat there in front of television cameras or even behind microphones when they're sitting there at a radio station and just, kind of spouting off and sharing their thoughts and their opinions and reporting the news. Do you trust them? Why? Because their microphone's big? Do they know what they're talking about? Do they care about what they're talking about? How many times have you turned into a news a broadcast? You're turned in, tubed in now to a news broadcast and the reporter was covering a subject you knew very deeply, and they misreported the fact. Like a flat fact. Like, blackberries are orange. And they read, blackberries are orange. But they're not. They're purplish. I give you purple. But orange? I've never seen an orange blackberry. I mean, pure, like, orange blackberry. That's wrong. But people heard it. And they're sharing that information as though it was fact, and it's not. It's wrong. And then all the people who hear that blackberries are orange, and I'm not talking, by the way, you geeks, I'm not talking about the BlackBerry product, the physical with the keyboard thing that's really not even a technology company much anymore. I mean, I know some people use BlackBerry devices. Anyway, okay. What I'm saying is I wouldn't necessarily trust someone just because they have a bigger microphone. Oh, you have more followers? Congratulations, that's awesome. Who wouldn't love that? I mean, I'd say I'd love to have, more people paying attention to the things I'm saying, because I like that. I like sharing what's in my head. People ask me all the time. Ask me questions every day. Chris, what product should I buy? I wish I had enough time in the day to just keep spilling what I know. I don't. I can't do it. It's one of the reasons why I've gone the direction of going and paying more attention to the patrons. Because unfortunately, the ad-based revenue model for content production no longer works. And a lot of your favorite content producers are going to be facing that flat fact at some point in the future if they haven't already. So I would choose to get advice from people I trust. And if I don't know them enough to trust them, then I turn to my circle that I do trust and ask them. And it's all about that trust factor. Someone who's been through it before. Someone who knows what they're talking about. Someone who gets it. Someone who knows. And for one reason or another. Maybe they haven't done it themselves, but they've been exposed to it over an extended period of time. That experience speaks volumes. It means everything. So just because someone's got a fancy title, or just because they work at some big company, doesn't mean that they know what they're doing. Genuinely speaking, if you're asking, who would I get advice from? I go to experience every single time. The experience, the track record. I look at what they've done, and I think to myself, well, do I trust this person? Have they done something, that has caused me to kind of question where they sit in the grand scheme of things? This is the thing, it always cracks me up. Anytime I get caught in a trend, it really upsets me because, it's like the day I came out and slagged Windows Vista. I came out and did a YouTube video years ago, and I said, this ain't ready for prime time. Now, up until that point, I was an enthusiast. They called me a Windows enthusiast. Like Microsoft had a program, a Windows enthusiast. I loved Windows. I was enthusiastic about Windows. I sat right here at this desk and did a video, which is still on YouTube. And I was slagged. I was raked across the coals. Because the other people who loved Windows and still love Windows and just believed in Microsoft everything, they couldn't understand what it was that I was saying. They couldn't believe that I was just turning my back on them. But I wasn't turning my back on them. I was just coming out and saying, hey, look, I don't think it's going to work. I think Windows Vista is going to be a failure. ... Years later, people forgot that. People forgot that I came out and I said, hey, my integrity means everything to me. I'm going to tell you this is the way I see it. You're asking me for my advice? Here's the track record to show you that when I've said these things, this is what happened. Okay, let's fast forward a few years. Windows 8 comes out. Again, Whipping Boy here. It's like my middle name, Whipping Boy, because I call it like I see it. I come out and say, I don't think Windows 8 is going to work, and here's why. Lo and behold, Windows 8 didn't work for exactly the reasons why I explained it wasn't going to work. But people tend to forget that, right? They forget that experience that adds up to bring someone to the point where they're able to share a qualified opinion based on experiences. And so, I always look to experience and value experience. Whether I agree with someone's opinion or not, irrelevant. Do they have the experience? Experience is everything. Longevity is everything. Is so valuable. So valuable. Invaluable, really. Because when you turn to someone that you trust and that you know and that you appreciate, and you know where they've been, you know what they're doing, they've been transparent as possible, and they've given you such experiences over those years, you're coming back to them for a reason. Whether or not you agree with them is irrelevant. You know they're giving you their experiences. Experience is everything. What I wouldn't have given to have gone through the entire experience in education, growing up in education, getting grades and going to classes and schools and everything, what I wouldn't given I had really good teachers, but I admit I had some sucky teachers too. What I wouldn't given to have replaced all of those sucky teachers. Who wouldn't? Whoever goes into a classroom and says, I need a sucky teacher. No one would. I mean, if you want a sucky teacher, great. That's not me, because I don't think it's going to get anybody further. It really isn't. A sucky teacher is a sucky teacher. I don't want to turn to someone because this person really knows what they're talking about, but are they able to explain it to me? Do they have that experience? Can they explain it in such a way that it makes sense to me, that I feel like I got something from it, valuable? I never want to talk to anybody who knows exactly what I do. I never want to talk to anybody who has the same opinions as I do, ever. Ever. I enjoy it. I like hanging out with other people who like Star Wars. That's great. But I don't want to have the same opinions as everybody else. That's boring. Who wants that? If you can't challenge your own convictions, man, you ain't living life. And part of that is understanding that other people have different experiences and accommodating that and valuing it and treasuring it and knowing you can learn something from someone who's had experiences that you haven't, I think is extremely valuable. That's the massive difference between information, search engine results, and knowledge, and knowing what that means, how to translate that. And there are few people in the world that I trust. So I go to them, the people that I trust, more than I would go to anywhere else. More than anything. I have a question about 3D printers. Barnacules Nerdgasm, no questions asked, because I know he knows his stuff. I know he's not gonna feed me a line. He's gonna tell me like he sees it. People turn to me for advice all the time. Who would you get advice from? People who are more experienced than me. And trust me, there are more than a few. So I think I've babbled on long enough. Boy, jeez and crackers, I've been talking a lot today. 10-minute video. Thank God I did this live, otherwise I'd have to edit it, and I hate editing video. So if you ever want to know some video editing advice, I'm probably the worst person to ask. I'll do live video all the time. 7 days a week, usually. No, editing video. Right, yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going to close this out because I really have no idea how to stop my mouth from running.